Erotic Fairy Tales, Rapunzel and the Handsome Stranger, written by Veronica Sloan, narrated by Candace Young. Chapter 1. There were a handful of happy years. That was when she was too young to understand her plight. She didn't remember the hut where she was born, or the miserable cry of her mother and father when she was pulled from their embrace. In those days, the witch could pacify her with a bit of sparkling magic. She was pacified no longer. It was on Rapunzel's 18th birthday that her final doubt was laid to rest. She knew her prison for what it was. As dawn blooms into the day, so too did the bud of her confusion sprout into frustration. Her tower, though luxurious, bounded her world to a score of footsteps. Such isolation would please the old or sick or insane, but Rapunzel was a woman grown. She was young and bursting with vitality, desperate to know the world beyond her lonely window. The witch had promised long ago that she would leave the tower when she was of age, but that vow, like so many before it, the witch refused to honor. Sorrow consumed Rapunzel's heart. From that day forth, her solitary window no longer framed a beloved vista, but a cruel glimpse of freedom. Where once she sang to the golden light, now she loathed its ceaseless glow. The sun, like the witch, visited her each morn, but both could journey over the horizon when it pleased them. It would have pleased Rapunzel to know how deeply the horizon descended. More than once the girl stepped onto the window's lip to squint beyond the mountains. More than once she contemplated the tangle of thorns at the tower's base and whether she would feel pain if she flung herself upon their final mercy. But pain was not permitted in the tower, at least not physical pain. The witch attempted to be kindly, and sometimes she even persuaded her captive that she was her loving grandmother, but that soft touch could not erode the sharp desire in Rapunzel's soul. Of physical pain there was none, yet despair stung the girl like a persistent bee. Loneliness burned her with never-ending fire. Worst of all was the craving, a longing for something she scarcely understood, a niggling fancy she could not name. It infected her like a plague, and its torment worsened with every passing year from adolescence through adulthood, till Rapunzel's mind brushed the scarlet tips of madness itself. "With all your magic," Rapunzel begged the witch, "can you not free me of this nameless craving?" To this the witch replied, "It is your burden to bear, my innocent child. This elemental craving that twists your insides cannot be unbound. This nameless thing, this aching, needful thing, is a magic greater than my own. What you feel is shared by all young women across this ruthless land. It is for your benefit that I have kept you safe within this tower, for without it, your virtue would surely suffer." "My virtue? What is that?" Rapunzel asked. "Your virtue is the purity between your legs," the witch replied. "The craven men of this world would have it from you in a heartbeat, with or without your leave. Any girl has cause to fear, but you, Rapunzel, will soon be the fairest maiden in the land. You will never know the shame that accompanies it." "Shame?" Rapunzel gasped. "Why must I be ashamed?" "My dear, dear girl," the witch croaked, "how silly of me. Too often I forget that you have none but your trusted grandmother to gaze upon. There are no other girls to needlessly compare thyself to, no cause or use for vanity in this place of innocence. Understand, my innocent, that the fairness of your face is such that it would drive men wild. The ripeness of your breasts, the supple nature of your backside, the long and delicate poetry of your legs, you cannot fathom their corrupting influence. Your eyes are as green as emerald ghosts, your hair more golden than gold. Your fingers are so delicate and strong that you may pluck the harp or the lute with equal skill, but that is not what men will set your fingers to plucking." "What?" Rapunzel gasped. "What wouldst I be made to pluck?" "Ask me no more," the witch cried. Men are monsters, Rapunzel. Let that be enough. But it was not enough. Rapunzel knew nothing of the outside world that the witch did not divulge, and the witch lied when it suited her. Rapunzel was no longer a child to blindly heed the woman's warnings, yet how could she discover any truth for herself? Enraged by her own ignorance, the girl sought wisdom in the restless stars. From her youth she watched them wheel about the sky. Season to season they followed their courses, ever circling, never reaching, a churn she knew too well. Rapunzel gathered strength from these restless companions and prayed to the moon for deliverance. She might have prayed to the sun, for it was larger and brighter and rode its chariot through the sky like a benevolent king. Despite these blessings, her allegiance rested in its pale sister. Solitary and cold, the moon was empress of her blood. She ached as it waxed and bled at its fullness. It was not always a pleasant bond, but a bond it was. Rapunzel prayed to the moon that she would be rid of the tower, rid of the witch, and rid of the nameless longing that pulsed between her thighs. Keeping this prayer from the witch was her very first act of rebellion. It would not be her last. Chapter 2. Though ignorant of the world below, Rapunzel was not simple. The witch instructed her young ward in the secret rituals of the forest, the benefit of herbs, the delight of spices and mushrooms, and the songs of courtly love. Time and ash had withered the crone's throat, but she remembered the notes well enough, and Rapunzel was a quick learner. Her golden tongue bestowed new meaning upon this ancient art. In early days the two sang duet, but when Rapunzel's voice spread its wings, the witch no longer bothered. "Please," the girl begged, "do not make me sing alone. All my days are spent alone. Can we not share this? Can we not join our voices?" To this the witch would grimace and brandish her long pipe carved from a gambler's shin. She sat by the window, the pipe clenched between her wooden teeth, and commanded the girl to cease her pitiful bleating. "I am an old woman," the witch said. "My pleasures are few and my patience is short. Sing for me, Rapunzel." "But, grandmother," the girl continued, "what of my pleasures?" The witch sucked a monstrous gout of smoke into her cheeks and forced it from her wrinkled lips with the strength of a hurricane. It chased Rapunzel around the room, its face transforming from toad to lizard to hideous dragon, until the girl screamed her apology. When the dragon dissipated, the witch put her feet up and bid Rapunzel return to her music. Then the witch puffed away contently as her prisoner sang of far-off lands her naive eyes would never see. Many a morning was whiled away thus, and never did the witch notice the girl's shimmering tears. If she noticed, she did not comment. "I am nothing but her songbird," Rapunzel thought bitterly. The witch did not teach her to cook or sew or sing to disrupt the endless tedium. It was to enrich her own comfort and nothing more. Rapunzel was to do as she was told. To do otherwise incited terror. Never pain, the witch reminded her, only terror. "Am I not a merciful witch?" she often asked, to which the reply was ever, "Yes, grandmother."